Stranger Things finale, Frankenstein, Jake Paul, Squid Game, and Samurais. Netflix's November's lineup is insane. Let's dive in. Netflix is finally putting us out of our misery. Stranger Things Season 5 drops November 26th. It's the final season, and honestly, it's about time. These kids aged out of high school like 3 seasons ago. All your favorite adults who refuse to leave the most dangerous town on Earth are back, and the gang's gotta take down Vecna for like the 6th time. At what point do you just let him win? The military brought in Linda Hamilton and are still hunting 11 after getting trashed for 4 seasons. Maybe this time they'll use waffles. Netflix split the 8 episodes into 3 parts. 4 come out now, 3 at Christmas, and 1 on New Year's Eve. So enjoy one last ride through the 80s with bikes, walkie-talkies, and Demogorgons as Netflix milks puberty one final time. Frankenstein drops November 7th. The heartwarming tale of a scientist who decides the best use of his medical degree is building a boyfriend out of corpse parts. Oscar Isaac plays Victor Frankenstein, the egomaniac scientist who plays God, and immediately regrets his Amazon order when Jacob Elordi shows up as the 6-foot whatever monster, looking like he just rolled out of a dumpster behind a Taco Bell. The doc yells, "It's alive!" then acts shocked when his DIY project doesn't come with a personality or social skills. The monster just wants a friend, maybe a hug, but instead he gets pitchforks and angry villagers with torches. Guillermo del Toro spent 18 years dreaming about making Frankenstein, comparing it to the Olympics. Well, buddy, you got an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, so congrats on the bronze medal, I guess. Frankenstein IKEA's into theaters, October 17th, then haunts Netflix, November 7th. Netflix is back with Squid Game, The Challenge, Season 2, basically the ultimate get rich or get humiliated trying simulator. $4.56 million, 1 British warehouse, 0 heating, unlimited betrayal. Season 1 had 456 contestants. Season 2 has 456 people who still haven't learned, spending weeks playing children's games designed by Jigsaw from the Saw movies. People got hypothermia last season. There were rigging claims and lawsuits, and Netflix just said, let's do that again. Squid Game, The Challenge, Season 2, where making friends is overrated when you can make millions. Last Samurai Standing is Shogun meets Squid Game with a samurai twist. 292 Japanese warriors gather to kill each other for 100 billion yen. Proving Netflix will turn literally anything into an elimination game with enough slow-motion kills to make Zack Snyder jealous. Junichi Okada leads this bloodbath as a samurai fighting to save his family, but this isn't about survival. It's about who can look the coolest while holding a sword and delivering poetic monologues before bleeding out. Last Samurai Standing slashes onto Netflix, November 13th. A Japanese historical drama of 300 actors in custom costumes competitively murdering each other for a check. Netflix is live buffering its own sequel, a 195-pound Jake Paul versus 135-pound Tank Davis, because apparently one totally not rigged boxing match wasn't enough. Tank's the WBA lightweight champ, because after the Tyson fight, Jake learned a hard lesson. When your 58-year-old opponent can barely remember the fight happened and threw fewer than 20 punches, people start asking questions. But Miami's hosting it anyway because regulations are just suggestions. So buckle up for round 2 of Let's Make Money Off Manufactured Drama and pray Netflix fix their servers. Selling the OC Season 4 is back, which means the only thing dropping faster than interest rates is the average IQ on the screen. Clearly, the Oppenheim Group is now just a Netflix casting agency. hiring plastic bodies with Botox expressions they can hold longest while being called a backstabbing snake. This season introduces new luxury real estate agents selling homes worth $10 million, but they spend 99% of the runtime fighting over who's texting whose husband. Catch Selling the OC Season 4 in November, and watch people with zero charisma struggle with basic human interaction while wearing skimpy outfits that cost more than your actual house. The Beast in Me is a psychological thriller that takes Love Thy Neighbor a little too literally. Claire Danes stars as a grieving author who cures her writer's block by obsessing over her charming, rich neighbor who may or may not be a serial killer. Matthew Rhys plays the prime suspect in his wife's disappearance, basically the guy your mother warned you about. The show is exactly what would happen if you decided to stalk Ted Bundy as your homework assignment. So, prepare for 8 episodes of the world's worst neighborhood watch program, creeping its way onto Netflix November 13th. Get ready to go totally raw and delirious about Eddie Murphy in Being Eddie, dropping November 12th. This doc dives into nearly 50 years of Eddie Murphy madness, from teen comic to Hollywood king to donkey sidekick, staying relevant without turning into a predator or a weirdo. With interviews from comedy legends like Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, and Jerry Seinfeld, this doc is basically the toast Eddie deserves, while also realizing that modern society could never handle the original, uncensored Eddie Murphy. Being Eddie hits Netflix November 12th, and if you skip it, congratulations. You officially don't understand comedy. So Netflix is finally putting this dinosaur soap opera out of its misery with the final season of Chaos Theory, dropping November 20th. 3 seasons of these kids getting hunted, trapped, separated, and betrayed repeatedly. It's layers of stupid, wrapped in anime-quality animation. We all thought Chaos Theory meant life finds a way. Wrong. In this show, it means plot armor always finds a way. Season 4 is supposedly wrapping it all up, and honestly, at this point, the dinosaurs are probably wishing for a round 2 of extinction. Backed by popular demand, or maybe just Netflix targeting geriatrics, A Man on the Inside, Season 2. Ted Danson returns as Charles, a retiree going undercover at a university to catch a blackmailer and maybe fall in love with a music teacher played by his real-life wife. Season 1 pulled a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, meaning critics just gave a show about AARP members committing heists the highest praise possible. It's like The Good Place meets Old School. If Old School was set in academia and your main character was on the verge of dementia. So tune in for Mission Impossible: Retirement Protocol, starting November 20th. Jingle Bell Heist is Netflix's way of saying, we know you have taste, but what if you didn't? 2 professional thieves, Olivia Holt and Connor Swindles, both show up to rob the same luxury department store in London on Christmas, and instead of fighting, they decide to team up, fall in love, and maybe earn a sequel. The whole thing is basically what ChatGPT would write if you asked it to make a rom-com, and instead it watched Ocean's 11. So, if you're looking for a movie where the main characters commit grand larceny, but it's fine because they learn the true meaning of Christmas, this is definitely for you. Death by Lightning is a historical assassination series, which just means the ending is spoiled by Wikipedia. But honestly, that's perfect, because it's made by D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, the same 2 geniuses who completely ruined Game of Thrones. Michael Shannon plays President Garfield, and Matthew Macfadyen plays his closest friend who just couldn't handle rejection, so he decided the best solution was murder. It's basically House of Cards, but with more beards, dirty-fingered doctors, and if Kevin Spacey completely overreacted to being swiped left. The 4-part miniseries streams November 6th on Netflix, where apparently everything is solved by dramatic speeches, and nobody survives the 3rd act. Next up on Netflix, we have Minx, the show that's bounced around more streaming services than the current administration's tariff plan. A delusional feminist teams up with a sleazy porn publisher to create the first erotic magazine for women in the 1970s when everything was beige and everyone had neck hair. You get 2 seasons of polyester blazers, giant collars, and more than its share of male nudity. It's basically Mad Men, run by Hugh Hefner. With a 93% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, this is the show that proves feminism and objectification can finally work together. Netflix is dropping Train Dreams this November, and this movie's literally about a guy who uses railroads as an excuse to avoid his wife. Joel Edgerton plays Robert Granier, a logger just like Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant, but with 0 bears and 1/10 the speed. The cast got William H. Macy, Felicity Jones, and apparently more flannel than a Costco in December. And here's the kicker. The movie got 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, which means critics are genuinely moved by this man's dedication to ghosting his family. So grab your tissues and lower your expectations. Coming to Netflix, November 21st. Minka Kelly plays a high-powered executive, and the only thing standing between her and a billion-dollar champagne deal is the perfectly sculpted jawline of the founder's son. They call it Champagne Problems, which is perfect. It's a 2-hour movie about people whose biggest hardship is deciding which private vineyard to fall in love in. It's the cinematic equivalent of a scented candle. Burns fast, smells nice, and it's totally hazardous to everything around it. Look, you know the script by heart, but if you need a cozy, brainless movie to sip cheap wine to while pretending you're in Paris, this is your highly polished comfort food. Netflix is bringing you Survivor's Remorse, the show that proves money can't buy you love, but it can buy you a whole family of freeloaders. This comedy drama follows Cam Calloway, a fresh NBA star trying to figure out if his loved ones actually love him or just love his bank account. Critics were obsessed with this show when it originally aired on Starz, calling it sharp and provocative. So naturally, it got canceled, and Netflix picked it up while dumpster diving. Produced by LeBron James, it's a masterclass in fame, guilt, and why lottery winners end up broke. Bottom line, it's a crash course on how to go from MVP to ATM. Netflix's The Bad Guys. Breaking In is the origin story of cartoon criminals who are desperately trying to go pro, and somehow it actually works. Mr. Wolf, Mr. Snake, Mr. Shark, Mr. Piranha, and Ms. Tarantula are the worst gang put together since Marvel's Eternals, and yet you absolutely cannot stop watching. It's peak entertainment, wrapped in a show that's technically rated for kids, but written for people who actually have a sense of humor. Netflix finally did something right for once. Go watch it. It's stupid in the best way possible. A Merry Little Xmas is Netflix's way of saying, what if we made a rom-com, but forgot to make it romantic or funny? Alicia Silverstone and Oliver Hudson star as exes who think Christmas can magically fix their dead marriage. Then his new girlfriend crashes the party. And I'm sitting here waiting for a threesome. But all we get is cringy, repeated awkwardness. It's basically the world's most disturbing version of Secret Santa, where the secret is that nobody wants to be there. Drops November 12th. In Your Dreams is Netflix's new way of telling you therapy and divorce lawyers are overrated. 2 siblings sneak into their own subconscious and hunt down the Sandman because only a mythical creature can save their parents' increasingly rocky marriage. It's like Inside Out met Inception, basically a Pixar film after 3 espressos and an identity crisis. Ultimately, it's just manifesting, but with better animation and a PG rating. New on Netflix, November 14th. Netflix just dropped Sesame Street Season 56 because nothing says peak entertainment like learning your ABCs from glorified sock puppets who've been around longer than your parents. The show that was supposed to be free education for all kids has now moved behind a paywall. Elmo's tantrums are as loud as ever. Cookie Monster runs a food truck, and Big Bird has been downgraded to a background extra. They've trimmed episodes to 11 minutes, which is the perfect length for the average parent's screaming tolerance before needing alcohol. So, that's our roundup of what's new. For more questionable reviews and savage breakdowns, subscribe and check out our other videos. Check back next week for your weekly dose of movie madness, and as always, let's get watching.